You've got to evaluate everybody who is within the circle of being able to influence you. So, major question, who am I around? Next question, what are they doing to me? That's a major question to ask. What have they got me doing? What have they got me listening to? What have they got me reading? Where have they got me going? What have they got me thinking? How have they got me talking? And how have they got me feeling? What have they got me saying? You've just got to make a serious study of how others are influencing you, both negatively and positively. Now, maybe the influence of all those around you is okay, but just ask yourself, it doesn't hurt to ask, who am I around and what are they doing to me? Now, here's the final question, is that okay? Maybe the people you associate with and their collective influence is okay. But then again, maybe it's not. All I'm suggesting here is that you take a close and objective look. Everything is worth a second look, especially the power of influence.
Earn all you can, make all the friends you can, read as many books as you can, develop as many skills as you can, see as much as possible, do as much as possible, make as much fortune as possible. Give as much of it away as possible. The max. There's no life like it. I'm telling you, once I got on track, I've never looked back. Pick up the challenge. Go for it. Take the best of the two easies. Take the route of it's easy to get ahead. It's easy to do all you can. It's easy to succeed. It's easy to have financial freedom. The more you do, the more you get. So the two primary benefits of positive reinforcement are, number one, to build good habits, and number two, to create more energy to fuel your ambitions, your desires, your achievements.
In this most important subject of association, here are some actions you may want to take. First, disassociation. You may, after a study of those three questions, who am I around, what are they doing to me, and is that okay, you may come to the serious conclusion that there are some people you just have to break away from. I'm not saying that it's an easy step to take, and it's not to be taken lightly. However, I am saying it may be an essential task. You may just have to make that hard choice not to let certain negative influences affect you anymore. Remember, it could be a choice that saves the quality of your life. The second action you may want to take is limited association. It could well be that you are spending too much time in a certain area of your life with a certain group of people. It's easy to put time and effort in the wrong place. The guy spends 3 hours at the ball game and 30 minutes listening to the sermon. See, that's called out of balance. 30 minutes for spirituality, 3 hours for entertainment. That doesn't weigh well 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when you take a look at the sum total of your values in your life.
All of this is so important, what we know, the mind, thinking, processing ideas and information. Ideas are simply information taking form. Now, we do something very important with what we know. We weigh it. We put it on our mental scales and we weigh it. And I don't know, we may give it a number from 1 to 10. Probably not consciously. But if we hear something and we come into possession of some information and we give it a 10, we'll probably act on it right away. If we give it a 1, we'll probably let it slide. If it's important, we'll do something about it. If we don't think it's important, we'll probably let it go. But it's so important to evaluate. A key word we learn in leadership skill training, perception. Trying to find value in something. Where is the value? How valuable is it? How important is it? Is there something here that I can't see at first glance? Is there something below the surface? Is there something in the inner workings of it? What goes behind it? What goes beyond it? What is its origin? All of these questions that help us come to the perception of value, ideas, evaluating information. Now here's what's important, to have a good set of mental scales. What if in processing information your mental scales were off? And you weighed everything a little wrong? Do you think that would affect your life? The answer is, of course. And all you got to be is a little off for 10 years. And you can imagine what the difference is. I got a key phrase for you. Life accumulates. We either accumulate the debt or the value. We either accumulate the regret or we accumulate the equity. Now, we must all suffer one of two pains. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And I'm suggesting discipline. Mental discipline to refine ideas. Of course it's laborious and of course it's a push, but it's called small price to pay so that you won't have the regret later on. Regret weighs tons. Discipline weighs ounces. So if you accept the early ounces of discipline of thought to refine ideas and not just let major questions go by.
Mr. Shoaff said, if you have enough reasons, you can do the most incredible things. You can get through the most difficult day. You can overcome the most unbelievable challenges if you have enough reasons. And so he said to me, if you haven't got a list of your goals, Mr. Rohn, it's probably because you don't have enough reasons. He said, I'm sure since I've met you, you have enough intelligence. And he said, you have enough good health. And he said, you have, all of those things working for you. But here's what you must work on now is to have enough reasons. Looking into the future, developing reasons. Okay. Now here's a note to make. It's important to make sure that the greatest pull on your life is the pull of the future. Some people let the past pull them back. The past can be like gravity if you let it to pull you back. Some people live in the past. They live in the darkness of the past. They live in the mistakes of the past. They live in the discouragement of the past. They didn't make it, and that affects them for the rest of their life, living in the past. So we don't want the past to pull us back, to live in the past. So make this note, dreams and goals can become magnets. Dreams and goals can become magnets. And the stronger the goal, the higher the purpose, the more powerful the objective, the stronger this magnet is that pulls you that direction.
What about society? What about the government? What about taxes? What about religion? What about life? What about capital? What about business? What about society? All of these major questions. What about my life and my value and my place and my future? And what about life? What about origin? What about destiny? What about opportunity? What about possibility? All of these major questions, to let them go casually by is to miss the treasures that your life could accumulate into in the coming months, the coming years. So this is called major. What we ponder and what we think about sets the course of our life. It's like the set of the sail that's taking us somewhere. Let me give you a good question to write down. Where are my thoughts taking me? This is a biggie question. Where are my thoughts taking me? These are some of the things you want to make sure of. You might be able to be casual about some things, but here's some things not to be casual about. My philosophy is taking me somewhere. Big question, where? The accumulation of equity will either be there or won't be there. Life accumulates. And I'm either accumulating debt that I'll be sorry for, or I'm accumulating value that I'll be happy about. It's not what happens that determines your life future. It's what you do about what happens. All of us are in like a little sailboat. And it's not the blowing of the wind that determines your destination, it's the set of the sail. So jot this phrase down, it's one of the best to understand. Kids need to understand it. The same wind blows on us all. The wind of disaster, the wind of opportunity, the wind of change, the wind when it's upside down, the wind when it's favorable and unfavorable. The same wind blows on us all. The economic wind, the social wind, the political wind. The same wind blows on everybody. The difference in where you arrive in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, the difference in arrival is not the blowing of the wind, but the set of the sail.
So really, for me, success is grounded in self-mastery. It's understanding yourself and then building on that, building disciplines, building successful habits, which then move you towards where you want to be going. There's something to this idea that there can be no problem that is not an opportunity in your life. And I think this is what the core of positive thinking is understanding that every problem, every challenge that you have is ultimately an opportunity. And this is not just some wishful thinking. This is not said lightly. This is something that takes some study. Takes some study and some contemplation to understand. It takes wisdom to really understand this. You have to have some life experience to start to see the truth of this, the depth of it. Because there's like a surface level understanding and then a much deeper layer of understanding. That's why you have to kind of go back and look at your own history, just try to prove it to yourself, that this is true.
If you are constantly waking up in the morning and all you do is just reply to everybody, and you're replying to their texts, you're replying to their needs, you're replying to their emails, all of a sudden the day is ripped away and you find yourself out of your own routine.
And so my way of saying that is like, you need a new mission. You need to be responsible for something, and you need to go and move towards some new mission.
But when I'm offered certain opportunities, I clench up and suddenly feel like an imposter who will mess up and be found. I'm 36, I'm single, in a paycheck-to-paycheck situation, and feel like I have wasted many years due to overthinking, self-doubt, and never feeling good enough or ready. How can I overcome this?
It is interesting then to think about how many adults seem to proclaim this expression in their lives. Is it because, like many things that adults tell children, they are simply telling the child a general rule that the child must follow, but can be broken once one is grown? Or is it because these adults are simply repeating what they were told as children without thoroughly examining what the phrase "I can't" truly suggests? If you confronted an adult that claims they can't do something with the same question about whether or not they have tried, the answer will almost always be yes. Adults have learned enough to know that it is unreasonable to say they can't until they have at least tried once. Therefore, the real question that we should be asking in response is, have you tried everything?